Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Fred Speaks. I pray this podcast finds you in the best of health and spirits. And I want to encourage everyone to continue to take the necessary precautions to wash your hands and wear your face mask during this pandemic. Welcome, everyone. Very excited concerning our subject for this podcast. And the subject is peace. I was sitting thinking about that I am a man of peace. I love peace. I really hate confusion. But it is a part of life that, if you have peace, then you have to also have the opposite of it to be able to understand the difference. But I was thinking about most people say they want peace. However, where they seek for peace or desire peace, they can't find it. And what I mean by that is that we look for peace in other people. We want to have peace with them. We look for it in our families, our relationships, and we say we want peace. But the problem with that is that no one in our lives, our natural lives, has the ability to produce peace without the Prince of Peace. Without having Jesus Christ, no human being can produce peace. There's a scripture where Jesus is talking about, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. But you have to have a whole different mindset, a whole different spirit in order to be able to produce peace. And you can be in a bad situation, whether it's at work, a relationship, friendship, and you genuinely desire to have peace. But the problem is that if Jesus is not in it, if he's not the focal point between the two people involved or the group of people involved, then there's always going to be confusion. But wouldn't it be great that if you had someone that whether you were in a partnership or friendship and you all had the Prince of Peace in common, that when you realize that confusion is rising, that each of you have the ability to bring peace to the situation. And nobody wants to, if you're married or whatever your situation is, and you come home, a person should be able to let their guards down. They shouldn't have to come home and have their guards up and ready to fight. Your home should be a place of peace. That when you come home, you can let your guards down, you can relax. You don't have to be on the defense because your home is full of peace. But it can't be full of peace without the Prince of Peace. And this subject is very very important to me because, as I mentioned in the beginning, I am a man that loves peace. I hate to see confusion. But at the same time, I realize that where there's confusion, there's an opportunity. If you have what it takes to be able to make peace, to be able to diffuse a situation. I can remember one time that I was at someone's home and the dad got very angry with one of the sons, and he was so angry that he was at the point to where he was ready to fight. And as I'm standing there, first of all, I'm like, wow, this is really happening while I'm here. And I was standing there, and I can remember the wife with this look in her eyes of just helplessness, not knowing how to diffuse the situation. And as I was observing the situation, I asked God within to help. And the father was so angry. He was very angry. I had never seen him like this. But the next moment, what I did was I just reached out calmly and put my hand on his shoulder. And I know you're thinking, wow, that was an opportunity to get punched or something. But at that moment, I wasn't a threat or anything. I calmly put my hand on his shoulder. And it was like almost instantly he came down. He came down out of the rage that he was dealing with. And because when I looked in his eyes prior to that, it was like, I'll kill you type of look. But I put my hand on his shoulder, and it was like he came to himself and he looked at me, and he had the look of, man, I'm sorry that you had to witness this. And I looked at the wife, and she was just, in her eyes, I could see just a relief that it didn't escalate and get to a point where things were totally out of control. But I say all that to say this, is that if you have the Prince of Peace, you have what you need to be able to make peace in your life with different people that you have to deal with. And everybody is not the same. There may be some people that you can calmly talk to them about things, and then there's others that, sometimes you have to raise your voice to get them to understand that you're serious. But we oftentimes, as human beings, we look to find something in flesh that flesh is not able to produce. Flesh, if you hurt me, then I'm going to hurt you. If you speak to me in a bad way, I'm going to speak to you in a bad way. But that's why it takes a greater power. It takes something that is opposite of flesh. And God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. So it is a spirit that is opposite of the flesh, that it does things that you may be amazed. But if you want peace in your life, We have to stop looking to others to provide that. And even when you're not dealing with others and just having peace in your life about things that you've experienced and things that you may be experiencing, just a mindset, or dealing with depression, or dealing with so many things that cause you to be down. In order to have peace in your life, you can't look for things to turn that around. Getting a better job, or getting the ideal relationship, or getting a new home, or getting whatever it is that you have in your mind, that if I could have that, I believe that I would have peace in my life, that I would be at peace. But I disagree, because you can accumulate a lot of things and still be miserable. You can have the ideal, what you call an ideal relationship, and still be miserable. You can have the perfect job that you look forward to going to every day, but still be miserable. Still not be at peace, because you will always have a longing that something is missing. And I had a man, a coworker, that came to me, and he was telling me that I have so many things that are, ideal in my life. I'm married, I have kids, I live in a, nice neighborhood, and I do things with the Boy Scouts, and, I have everything that anybody would want, but yet I'm still not at peace. Because in having all those things and having what most people would say the ideal life, is still not enough. And I began to tell him that the missing piece was having God, having Jesus in your life. And he is available. He's available, but we have to want him. And a lot of times, because we equate peace or being at peace with, I'm content, I have this, I have that, and yet it's not enough. But I can truly say that what gives me peace and contentment is being able to come home and realize that it's not in my home, it's not in the vehicle that I drive, the job that I have, it's not even in the people that are in my life. But when I think about true peace, I have to give all the credit to God, to Jesus Christ, because he is the one that gives me a sound mind, a mind of peace, a mind that I can come home and I can lay down and rest, and not worrying about, if this person likes me, or if I'm going to get this job or promotion, but he has given me a life of peace. I can't say I've always had it. I've had times in my life where I was definitely not at peace, and I didn't have peace. And it was all because I forgot about him. I left him out of the equation. But every time that I have allowed him to be my everything, for me to look to him, to depend on him, I've been able to have peace and be at peace. And sometimes I would talk to different people and I see them and they would be going through different things. And I know a lot of times people don't want to hear it. And I would tell them that Jesus is the only way. That you're trying to get something or obtain something and it's not possible without him. But if you want what you're seeking for, you got to put him first in your life. One scripture talks about acknowledge the Lord in all thy ways, and he will direct our path. And a lot of times we get so frustrated and we let our peace go out the window because we try to do it our own way. But when you know that he is the one, he is my peace. He's my sanity. Without him, I would lose my mind if I didn't have him. But because I have him, I'm at peace. I have peace. And not only do I have peace, but I'm able to produce peace. And like I was saying, a lot of people don't want to hear, or want for you to start trying to diffuse confusion because they're in a state of where they want confusion to continue because they feel like they're getting something out of that when they're going back and forth with someone. But nobody is winning or nobody is gaining anything when you're constantly bickering and going back and forth. But it becomes to be an opportunity where someone can make peace. And I would like to end this podcast by reiterating and asking the question, what are you looking for to provide you peace? I was thinking about, I had in my mind of this ideal relationship about getting married and and growing old with someone and just sitting on the porch and rocking chairs and just being so at peace and having contentment. And unfortunately, that did not happen in my life of where I was able to get married and, and it'd only be the one person and just live and grow old together. And so that was my ideal situation when it came to marriage. But even in that, I had to find out that my peace didn't lie in that. That would have been great if it had gone that way. But through Jesus Christ, he showed me that true peace is in me. That if you really want peace, I don't care if you just think about whatever it is you're dealing with, and you want peace in your life, I just want to recommend Jesus Christ, that if you can accept him through the preaching of his word, if you can accept him into your life, he not only comes with peace, but he comes with a great, great, great multitude of great things when you accept him into your life. And peace is just one of the things that is a characteristic of him. But I pray that whatever you're dealing with in your life, that you will consider what I'm saying in this podcast, that you will consider Jesus Christ, consider that you've tried everything else, you've looked for it in so many different things and places, but yet you have not been able to obtain it. But he's available, he's willing, and he's able to give you what you need. And peace is something that I feel that everybody need in their life. And peace can come into your life once you can accept Jesus Christ. And he will be peace when nobody's around. He can be your peace when you're around a lot of people. He can even be your peace when there's confusion. And we can see the world that we're living in, there is a lot of confusion going on. And there's very few people that are trying to make peace. But that is something that I pray that I may not be at the White House or the Capitol or wherever, but I pray that the people that are in my life, that I can make an impact, that I can be that peacemaker. You can go anywhere and find people raising hell, but what about being able to find somebody that is able to bring peace? Somebody that doesn't mind taking the low seat, humbling themselves. And sometimes when you're trying to make peace, people, because they're angry, they will try to embarrass you. But hopefully, even in those situations, that they would come to themselves and realize that, I really, made a fool of myself. This person was really trying to help. This person was really trying to diffuse the situation. So with that, I would like to encourage everyone to join us for another episode of Fred Speaks. Thank you.